Welcome to Cooking with Kefi. I'm your chef, George Kyrtatas, and I have the pleasure of working with my dear friend, Cohen. We've known each other for so many years, and she's just such a wonderful person and an amazing chef. And in fact, you can check out some of her awesome recipes in her new book, Fast, Fresh, and Simple. Hope, what are we making today? You said it's some kind of a spin on a paella?
It is. It's my sort of take, and thank you for having me today.
A pleasure.
It's my take on a Spanish paella dish. It's not exactly paella. It's a Spanish rice and shellfish is actually what I call it in the book. And it's basically a very simple dish. All of my dishes are, quick and simple. I was a single working mom, and when I wrote this book, and so these are all recipes that people can make during the week when they're pressed for time or on the weekends, really flavor forward. And this is basically a very simple dish of just some sauteed vegetables with some rice, some seasonings, and cooked all together in one pot. So
nice. One pot is always the best because you don't have to make a mess of everything.
It's
Let's see what we have. We're going to start off, I guess, with a mirepoix. I see celery, onions, carrots.
Always. And garlic.
And garlic.
Don't forget the garlic.
Always
you can't forget the garlic.
That's fantastic. Then we've got some diced tomatoes here.
Diced Roma tomatoes, which I like to use, which not only add flavor, but they also give a really nice body to the sauce and color as well.
Nice. They seem to hold up a little bit better than using just a regular, like a beefsteak tomato when you're doing a dish like this.
They do, and if you can't find really good Roma tomatoes that are ripe in your market, you could feel free to substitute with a canned San Marzano tomato, for instance. I've done that with great success. So I only use the Roma tomatoes when they're in season and they look really great.
Great. We've got some beautiful artichoke hearts here.
Yeah. These are canned artichoke hearts, and if you have a lot of time and you want to use fresh artichokes, great, but the canned artichoke hearts work really well in the dish, and they also hold up really well.
They do. I mean, when they package them, they're usually in some kind of like olive oil or something like that, so they hold up, and the flavor's there. So I use the Cento ones all the time in my cooking. It's a really great product.
So they add great flavor, and I'm a big, huge artichoke fan, so I wouldn't skip that.
We've got frozen peas.
Frozen peas, which are great. Frozen peas hold up really well. They're frozen at the peak of ripeness. They're much sweeter than fresh peas very often. So
or even canned peas. Canned peas have a tendency of deteriorating in that can.
Yeah.
I like to use frozen or fresh whenever I can get them right away.
These will hold up in the dish, and you'll see at the end they look really gorgeous scattered over the rice and the seafood and the vegetables.
We've got some pasta neck clams, which are the smaller sizes. Some Mexican shrimp. Now this size here is a U15 shrimp. When we said we were making this, we made sure that we got the beautiful U15, and U15 goes by a size count. It's U15 means that there's under 15 shrimp per pound.
So it's a really nice size. So everybody, when you're eating it, you get something that you can really put your knife and fork into.
Exactly. And the same thing with size count when you go over to the beautiful bay scallops that we have here. Those are 10-20, which in the same thing with the sizing, there's 10 to 20 scallops in a pound of scallops.
Exactly, and I like people to use what they call dry scallops, so that they're freshly caught and they're not put in a solution where they would like leach out a lot of liquid. They're fresh and they're medium, they're sweet. So always use a fishmonger that you trust and get the freshest of the fresh.
And in worst case scenario, there is something called IQF dry scallops. And IQF is individually quick frozen. So they take these fresh scallops right when they're harvested, crack them open, and then they start pulling them aside, and they freeze them individually really quick under a flash freezer. So they go from fresh to frozen in a blink of an eye. Yeah. They're blast frozen.
Agreed.
We've got some arborio rice.
I like to use arborio rice because it soaks up all of the delicious flavor from the dish, and it gets a little bit, it's got a little more starch in it than your traditional long grain rice, and it just
it'll help thicken it up a little bit too.
Yeah, everything marries beautifully in the dish, so it's more like a stew.
We've got some beautiful saffron threads. Now saffron is the stamens from the crocus plant.
Actually, it's hand harvested, which is why it's so expensive, because every single stamen has to be hand picked from the crocus flower.
And it's something like 10,000 crocus flowers to make a pound.
It's something ridiculous.
It's
very expensive.
It's very expensive.
But
you only use a little bit.
Right, you don't need a lot, and it's
incredibly
incredibly fragrant. Don't you love the smell of it?
Oh, I can't wait to get that cooking, because once it starts cooking and it starts to reconstitute and it comes to life, the whole kitchen's going to smell.
And it adds really great color
fantastic.
to the dish too.
We're also going to be using some chicken broth.
Yes.
Canned chicken broth here, when you're buying chicken broth, make sure you buy a good quality chicken broth. You know, again, this is a Chendo product because it is phenomenal. It's the best next thing to getting something fresh, making it yourself.
I agree.
We got some fresh parsley here. We're gonna put that in towards the end because it's fresh, and whenever we're using fresh herbs, you wanna cook them as little as possible.
Agreed, it adds a really nice earthy flavor. I like to use Italian flat leaf parsley.
Okay.
Always adds great color and great earthiness to the dish.
We've also got some sea salt and some spicy paprika.
Yeah,
smoked
paprika.
Smoked paprika. I know you said mild, but I like the spicy, so I got spicy. I hope you don't mind.
No, I like spicy too. I do. I like heat. If you don't like heat, you can feel free to use the sweet paprika, but the smokiness is the key. Whether you like it spicy or sweet, you want to have that sort of smoky flavor because I don't use any pork in this. A lot of times in paella, there's chorizo, but I don't have that in here. So that smoked paprika gives you that smokiness without having the meat in the dish.
Nice. Great. Well, it looks like we're just about ready to get started.
So excited. I can't wait.
All right. We'll see you back after commercial, and that's when we're going to start cooking. Welcome back to Cooking with Kefi. I'm your host, George Kyrtatas, and I've got the beautiful Hope Cohen with us with her new book, Fast, Fresh, and Simple.
Thank you,
Hope,
George.
I'm going to put this to the side so it doesn't get dirty.
Perfect.
And let's start cooking.
Absolutely. I've got a pan going, George.
Okay.
So we're all ready to roll. I'm going to start with some olive oil in the pan.
All right.
And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to saute the onion and the carrot and the celery. So why don't you chop up an onion?
Sounds good.
I'll start sauteing the carrot and the celery. And we'll get rolling.
Perfect.
So
now this is like a traditional mirepoix, and a mirepoix, when people talk about it, it's celery, onion, carrot, and then we're just throwing the garlic in as well.
Absolutely, and I always like to start the celery and the onion and the carrot first before I put the garlic in, because that way the garlic doesn't burn.
Nice.
So I'm going to start with a little bit of carrot.
A lot of times when the garlic does get overcooked, it gets that bitter flavor, and we want to try to avoid that, which is why you put it in afterwards.
Definitely, because once the garlic burns, you can't get rid of that bitter flavor.
Yeah, a lot of times you might as well just start from scratch and do it over again.
The carrot and the celery and the onion are going to be the base of the flavor, and you know, George, because you're an amazing chef, that really builds the flavor in the dish, starting with the onion and the carrot and the celery. That's sort of the traditional base of flavor.
Definitely, and at this point, it's also one of those things, a lot of people start to rush and they don't fully saute that mirepoix, that celery, onion, and carrot, and you really want to, because it really releases a lot of those flavors.
It caramelizes the vegetables, it brings out the sugar, which again builds flavor, and the whole idea behind cooking is you want to just build flavor in the dish every step of the way. This looks great.
And I'm crying over here.
All right, well.
These onions were, onions were sitting out here for a little bit. A nice tip at home is put the onion in the refrigerator for a couple minutes, and it will keep you from tearing up.
That's a great tip, actually. I'm gonna put the onions in, and how about if you bring over the garlic?
Sounds good.
It smells so good already.
Here's the garlic for you. We'll do a little trade.
And then
a little salt, pepper now.
A little salt and pepper now. Definitely, we want to season this.
You know, something I always like to do is season in layers. Every time I introduce a new ingredient, I always like to re-season.
I do the same thing.
Your salt.
Perfect. This looks and smells amazing.
And you know what? The colors. There's so much fresh colors in there. You know, you want your food to look good, not only taste good.
And this is really beautiful pink salt you've got here.
Now, you were telling me earlier, that's actually a Himalayan Hawaiian sea salt.
Gorgeous.
You know, there's so many different salts out there now that add so many different flavors. I like to play around with them, and I thought this one would go good with your dish.
Thank you. It's beautiful, and always nice to use really great ingredients.
And you were telling me something about blooming saffron?
Absolutely. We want to put saffron in this dish, and the saffron is going to add a really important flavor. What I like to do, though, before I put the saffron in, is to bloom it in a little bit of chicken broth.
Here's a pot. Let's get a little chicken broth.
Great.
We'll put this on the stove as well.
And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the flavor of the saffron to come out into the broth, which we're going to add to the rice dish.
Nice. Is that good for now? And then we can add the rest later?
Definitely.
And here's that saffron. I can't wait. The color is just going to change.
That's great. You know, I'm going to add just a little more chicken broth. Is that okay?
A little bit more? Sure.
We might as well heat it up. Look at it. You can already see the color.
It's turning into that yellow color, which is going to basically stain the rice. to a beautiful golden yellow color.
So
here, we're done with the oil. Let me get this out of our way as well.
Okay.
And I guess next we should put the rice in?
Definitely. We're going to add the rice to the olive oil and the carrot, celery, onion mixture. And you know that when you're cooking arborio rice, it's a good idea to toast it before you add the liquid.
It releases that nice nutty flavor and it kind of toasts it a little bit, and then it also helps get some of that extra starch out. And in a dish like this, you want that extra starch to come through.
It's going to make the whole dish, it's going to bring it together, it's going to thicken it, and it's going to add great flavor. So yeah.
Should I put that in?
Yeah, we need about maybe half of that, I'd say. Beautiful.
Is that good?
That's beautiful.
Nice.
And you know that you want to make sure that when you're sauteing it, that every single grain of rice gets toasted in the olive oil and coated with the olive oil.
Always.
And that's going to help toast it and really bring out the flavor, right?
Again, it's these little steps that don't take any more time, just a little bit more care that help make your dish turn out to be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can make this. It's so simple. Your recipes in your book are amazing, but it's these little extra tidbits of make sure you toast your rice, make sure you coat it, that add all the extra flavors that you really need.
Make sure you season it every layer, every step of the way, as you said, and that's you're gonna wind up with a dish that tastes really great. There aren't a lot of ingredients, but if you pay attention to each ingredient, you're gonna wind up with a dish at the end that's flavored beautifully and looks and tastes great.
Now, how are we doing? Should we start any of the clams yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that at first what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the chicken broth with the saffron.
Okay. That's right next to you. So why don't you go ahead and pour it in whenever you're ready.
Stir. Let's see. There we go. Right, ready?
And I'll go nice and easy so that way I don't get your nice white chef coat dirty.
Thank you. Look at that. Oh, it smells incredible. So I like to just stir the rice into the broth and kind of like let it absorb.
And we're still working on a low heat now, right?
We're working on about a medium heat.
Medium?
You don't
Okay.
want it to boil very hard, but you want it to be, I like to say, simmering.
Put in the next ingredients?
What we're going to do is we're going to nestle the artichoke hearts right into the rice
I
and
love
the
that.
vegetable
Nestle
mixture.
the artichoke hearts.
So I just like sprinkle them in and then kind of like push them down into the mix because they're going to absorb all of the flavor of the saffron and the garlic and the onions. So once we have the artichokes in, then we're going to take the clams and sort of place the clams all around.
I'm still stuck on nestling the artichokes.
You can nestle the clams too.
Nestle the clams too?
Can I help you?
Yes, by all means.
Here. So yeah, I just put them sort of randomly around. Great.
Nice. Now we got to make sure we leave room for the scallops and the shrimp later on.
Yep.
Is that good?
Looks beautiful.
One more for good luck.
All right, good. So now that that's in, what we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to let them cook just for a few minutes. A little salt, a little pepper, always nice every step of the way.
I got you, I got you.
And then once the clams start to pop, then we can put the shrimp and the scallops in, and the peas and the parsley.
Sounds good. We're going to let this simmer up. We'll see you right back after the commercial break, and we're going to finish this up. Welcome back to Cooking with Kefi. Again, I'm here with my host, Hope Cohen, and we're going to finish up the seafood and rice. How's it looking so far?
It looks great, and I think that, look, it's bubbling beautifully. The clams are just starting to pop open.
Oh, they're starting to pop open? So we're ready for the other ingredients.
We are. We're ready
Some
for the tomatoes.
diced tomatoes?
Definitely. Sprinkle them in. You can nestle them too.
I love that.
All right, great. That looks beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, this looks fantastic.
Look at the color. It's just beautiful.
So now we're about ready, it looks like, for the shrimp and the scallops?
Definitely. We're going to lay them on top.
Good. Why don't you take the shrimp, start laying them on top, and I'll grab the scallops and I'll start putting them in.
Great. So what's going to happen now is the shrimp and the scallops are just going to steam right on top of all of the shellfish and the vegetables that are already in the pot, and all of the liquid from the fish and the jus is going to all mix together, and that's going to really add a lot of flavor to the entire dish.
Now, something that I just want to bring note, because you probably did it without even thinking about it, but a lot of people don't know. When you were putting the shrimp in, you were layering them away from you, which is, again, something that we do as second nature, but you want to make sure that you do that so that way it doesn't splash back on you.
Exactly.
If you were to put it towards you, everything's going to splash at you.
Right.
So always push it away.
Look,
oh, that looks fantastic.
Gorgeous. So again, like we've done every step of
Peas
the way.
and parsley, salt,
peas
pepper.
and parsley, a little salt and pepper, and then we're good to go. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, how good does it smell in here? Peas, I'll grab the parsley.
Sounds good.
That's gorgeous, George. Look at the color.
You know, every single ingredient that we've put in so far has that vibrant color. So I can't wait to see it when it's done.
I'm going to turn the heat down to about medium.
Good. Well, I've got an extra surprise for you. While this is cooking, we're going to make a fall sangria.
Super excited about that.
With some awesome flavors here. We've got some hard cider. So we're just going to take a nice little picture here. Oh, but this is like totally going to blow your mind because we're going to be using hard cider. So we're just going to be taking some in.
I actually have a recipe for sangria in my book completely different from this. So I like the idea that we're doing it.
We could change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got some apple cider, some hard cider. We're also going to put some apple brandy in here.
Great.
Thus going with the sangria. You know what? Let's do a little bit more.
Go, 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 go.
I do want to save a little bit room because now we're going to put in the garnish. So I'm just going to push this aside, let that settle. And you see how simple this is. You know, I'm just going to take some nice apples. Oops,
so the hard cider is really taking the place of the wine that's traditionally in sangria?
Exactly.
I like that.
So we're just going to take these apples, and I want to leave the skin on, and I'm just going to slice them down nice and thin.
Good knife skills, chef.
Thank you. I try, you know. I come home, I practice, and you could dump these in.
I'm eating one before I put it into your...
Sounds good. And then right after that, you can put it right in.
How beautiful, bobbing for apples.
Exactly. Now I'm also going to take some of the Granny Smiths because I like the contrast of color and also the sourness that this apple is going to give.
They're really tart. I love them.
And again, just going to do nice thin slices.
This is going to be delicious with the rice.
I am so looking forward to this. So why don't you put those in?
Okay.
And then I know you make fun of my big spoons, but we're going to use it, but I'm going to use the back side of it and just push it down.
My, what a big wooden spoon you have.
And this is it, Hope. I mean, it's that simple.
I can't wait to taste this.
It's a fall sangria. So why don't we
great.
finish up your seafood and rice, check on it, see if it's ready, and then we'll pour this out and we'll plate up your dish.
Sounds
so
great.
Let's take a look at it. How's it looking?
I think we're ready to go. I have to guess. Voila.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Look, it looks perfect. Everything's just cooked through, bubbling together.
Let me give you a towel, because that handle's going to be a little bit warm. I don't want you to burn yourself.
And well, that's really going to help. You know why? Because right at the end of the paella, what I also like to do is sometimes just to throw a towel over the paella and then put the lid on, and that absorbs a little bit of the steam.
Okay.
And so that the rice doesn't get mushy.
Why don't you do that? I'll grab the steam, the lid.
And while we pour the sangria, this will steam a little bit, and then we'll be ready, and we can plate it up.
Ta-da!
Beautiful.
I'm going to start by doing this so it doesn't splash.
Lovely.
So let me pour a little bit for you.
This is nice. I get my fruit, my fiber, and my alcohol.
And then how many people do you know that actually use a tongs to make a drink? You know, it's a chef.
You're multi-dimensional and talented.
Okay, there we go. And now let's
You ready?
plate.
It's gonna be so great. It smells incredible in this room. Look.
Oh, that's so beautiful. All right, Hope, this looks so good. Let's dish this up because I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. We've got our fall sangria here.
It looks absolutely wonderful. Look at everything. The rice is cooked with all of the chicken stock and the saffron and the artichokes and the scallops. Absolutely beautiful.
All right, you got to work a little quicker because I'm ready to just grab my fork and just dig in right now.
I want to make sure that you get a little bit of everything. Come on, George. Patience. There you go.
Patience. Me with patience? I don't think so.
How's that?
That looks great. I want another shrimp right on top.
I was going to say. There you go.
Oh, that looks fantastic. All right, this is your dish that you made. Here's your fork.
Thank you.
And here's your sangria.
Beautiful.
Let's try that.
Cooking
Cheers.
with Kefi.
Exactly. Oh, I could drink that all day.
That has a punch.
A nice punch from the brandy.
But really
But that
nice.
apple flavor just pops out.
And I like the idea of having that with the rice. It smells amazing.
This is phenomenal. This is so great.
I really do love this dish.
This is my guest, Hope Cohen. Fast, fresh, simple. Hope, where can we get this book?
The book is available on Amazon.com, or you can go directly to my website, www.fastfreshandsimple.com.
Well, this is mine. I'm not giving it back, but I am going to continue eating this, drinking our fall sangria.
It was so great.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
This was Cooking with Kefi. I'm your host, George Kyrtatas. This is Hope Cohen. If you like this recipe and everything that you saw here today, you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you very much. Kali Oriksi. I know I'm going to keep on eating. Thank you.
Thanks, George.